All right, Nick, we're going to start off with one of your favorite segments. This is Would You Rather? Fun little Would You Rather. Would you rather 58 million with a broke jaw or 48 million and breaking the opponent's jaw?
Yeah,
Right? I mean, the
I
48,
would take
58.
the 48 million.
You take the 48 and break the jaw?
Yeah, I've had a broken jaw. I'm good. You can keep the 10.
Oh, yeah, it's worth 10 mil.
It's pretty miserable. And if he has multiple breaks, it's going to be real terrible.
How'd you do it? What happened to you?
I got into a dirt bike accident, and it just happened. It just was miserable, absolutely miserable. Anybody, I've said this probably, we've talked about the Jake Paul stuff. Look, he's getting into the ring, and he got into the ring with certifiable heavyweight, guy, no matter what you think of him. I don't think a lot of people would sign up to do it.
He danced around quite a bit, which we could all understand why too. At the end, if your jaw gets broken, you're like, I would have danced around too.
He just was trying his best not to get hit. That's what he was trying to do. That's what he had to do.
That's what he had to do. There's people that, and you and I were texting during the fight. People believe that, if he won, I was one of them, was like, Netflix would be, they made him win, right? And like you had to believe in boxing to believe that Anthony was going to win. Yep. A lot of the theory now is, will Paul be back, right? I mean, he's already said he's not coming back in his weight class, but a broken jaw, I mean, is he coming back at all?
Yeah, how rich do you need to be, is getting to the point. I mean, they stay in the limelight. And one of the interesting things about this is he looked chubby, trying to get up to 215. It's Anthony Joshua had to cut to get to the weight limit, which is not a good sign if you weigh 215 and a guy's got to cut to 245. So, he's not in that world. He's always been fighting smaller guys. He was a little bit, let's call it, quote unquote, smarter to this point. A lot of washed up guys, a lot of guys that could be had. And he's a bona fide guy, though. I mean, he's getting in there with real people, and, he's got, Crunk Jim behind him and guys, that have been in the game a long time. But he looked flabby to me, and he looked like he was going to struggle to run around for 8 rounds. So that's kind of what happened.
And he seemed to not, right? Like his knees always buckled.
Yeah,
like everybody's like he felt. No, his legs gave out.
Yeah, once the big boy started to put pressure on him, it was a wrap.
Yeah, did he save boxing? That's what people. He claims that he's the one that is saving boxing. He's the biggest promoter of women's boxing, right? Like a lot of claims, right? And I get it. That's to be on YouTube.
That's what he's
to be on YouTube. You make a lot of claims. And then he's coming over to the real world, which tends to lead into everybody knows where I'm going, right? This always fun moment of seeing YouTubers come out into the real world, who can make it and who can't. Inside of our detailing industry, we're still always thinking of it, of what YouTubers will continue on and what type of material they will put out, will they continue. It's always fun because as we go into 26, quote unquote, will the game change, right? Like what's going to happen as we move into next year? I think a lot of people are wondering to know too, is if we go into next year, how do we keep our customers that we do have that we had in 2025? You and I were in a text thread over the game. I was also in a text thread with some other people this weekend, and they were talking about a TikTok trend. I don't know if you've seen it. Some TikTok trend where people are starting to really put a lot of floor mats down. Those dealership floor mats.
Yeah, people don't realize those are for the service provider to use.
And the dealership around the steering wheel apparently is a new popular thing. It was only big. I saw it pop during Corona. Apparently, some people are thinking now this will be their way of getting their customers to come back. Have you ever seen this work, this little trend of putting down floor mats to help customers? I hate the floor mats.
Yeah, let's say what the floor mats are supposed to be for, technically what they were designed for. While you're providing wheel work, engine work, your boots get oily, you lay something down so you don't get stuff on the floor mats from the shop floor. It's not for putting something in there after the fact, because actually all manufacturing recommendations are that your floor mats are flat, that there's nothing in the way, that there's nothing impeding. There's actually checks that mechanics are supposed to do during routine maintenance that nothing's going on with the floor mat. Don't add things to the floor mat. Have I seen it work? I always come at this from the customers I think most people want. Most people want the high-end customer, I would say, in our business. That's what people aspire to or want the most of in their business. I can't remember a single high-end client that wanted anything in their vehicles. I just have never seen it. That doesn't mean I'm the only one, but you've worked in Tulsa in high-end neighborhoods. We got a bunch of you guys that do high-end work inside the hyperCLEAN world. I don't see any of those guys doing this stuff. So I would just venture to say I don't think it's really a great idea to do this.
No, when I got the Nissan back from the body shop a couple weeks ago, right, they left that paper floor mat in. I mean, it's terrible by that point. Their guys had been stepping on it. It wasn't brand new. And I just wanted to throw it away as fast as possible, right? It makes no sense to leave a paper floor mat in there. Now, I get it. I do understand what it protects, the floor mat, from dirt and stuff like you mentioned, getting in and out, stuff like that. But leaving one in there, no, I never thought of that. We would sell them to dealerships, but never, leave them for any, customer that uses our service. I know some people always talk about, though, which in some other post I saw, and I know a guy that here locally used to love to leave a small little bag of mixed candies to customers or little things. And you go, I know that people go, oh man, this is really great. This is good for is it? I don't know the amount of time. I mean, is candy really something to leave for a customer?
Yeah, just again, you have to ask yourself what is that customer and their lifestyle, right? And I think that would be hard to narrow down exact, one type of thing to leave behind that would fit 100 customers.
You're right. But if you went off of that, and let's play off of it, would it be worthwhile to leave some tees or maybe a sleeve of golf balls?
Yeah, but again,
who's going to pay for a sleeve of golf balls, though?
Yeah,
right?
A sleeve of golf balls now is $20. $50, $55 a dozen, right? So, look, I think I don't want to diminish this because I think it's people giving an effort, right? And I think a lot of times people get real offended if that's the effort they gave, and if you don't like it, my customers love it. Then great, you have no reason to stop. I mean, if you're getting all kinds of new customers and your customers are thrilled and you found something that they love, man, continue to do it. I mean, there's a lot of things I do in my business because of the kind of clientele that I have. I've said this before. Revive was built off the backs of my customers. The reason Revives exists the way it exists as a product in hyperCLEAN is because my customers, they don't want to smell product. They want their expensive cars to look a certain way like it did from the factory. So we took that inside hyperCLEAN and we made this product. Now, you may have clientele that loves a dressed interior, and that's 99 out of 100 customers you're going to come across. Then dress the interior, right? I just think people need to understand that what I've seen work in multiple states, multiple cities, with people that drive high-end vehicles, leaving candy behind, even leaving business cards behind, they're not going to be receptive to.
No.
They're going to be like, wait a minute, you just cleaned my car, now I got to throw something out?
Yep.
This is the way the high-end customer thinks about it. It's not about what Nick would want when he wants his car detailed. It's what that customer wants. And if you never put your hat on to be that customer and think about how they live, if you go, oh, all my customers, big-time business guys and gals, they're always on the move, then don't make them throw stuff away. There'd be a simple way to live in their world. I can say for me, anything out of the realm of me getting in my car, jumping and going to where I need to go, that's a negative for me personally at this point in my life. So if somebody took care of my car and made me do work, throw something away, get rid of something, I wouldn't really, enjoy that. That doesn't mean I wouldn't hire them again, but it's not going to have the effect you think it's going to have.
I feel for the guys that do, though, right? There are plenty of people that do believe that if I leave something or if I do something for my customer, I will get that customer to come back. right? It's a theory in business, not just detailing. I'll put it into detailing now for the difference of my customers, right? You're right. The high-end people that were inside that gated community, they didn't get anything. But my customers that worked at the oil company over here at Warren Place, where I showed up every 2 weeks to clean office ladies, well, you know what? They loved punch cards. Punch cards.
Yeah.
Absolutely. They were the, middle level type employee working at making decent money, just wanted a good, nice, clean car. They weren't fancy cars. They just valued their car getting cleaned for 45 to 50 bucks every 2 weeks. Right? We were just washing back
that's
in,
a
wiping
lot
them
of
down.
years ago. That price point was a lot of years ago for anybody listening. That was yesteryear. Marty's not really doing a lot here in the last so many years of that kind of work. So don't anybody get any price conversation going. That would be what, 90 to 110 bucks today. I mean,
Probably.
easily.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have no concept of what somebody would charge for that now. You're right. But a wash and vac, good mini quick detail for 45 to 50 bucks. They loved it, and I'd throw a punch card in and punch it sometimes. Whether they lost it or didn't, it just seemed to be something that those ladies loved.
So let's say this just for sake of argument. Man, what if you do a lot of semi trucks? What if you do a lot of farm equipment? What if you do a lot of XYZ? That's why if you're detailing cars for a living, it could be in a shop, you could be doing PPF, you could be doing tint, you could be doing detailing. It's going to be hard to have an across the board, every customer would love this in their car. Okay. The next thing is, how does it represent your business? Is it in line with your personality as a business? Some people can get away with goofy stuff in the car because that's how they handle their customers, right? Other people, like my customers, boy, I did any of this stuff, I would hear about it day one from an assistant, more than likely, usually. Don't ever effing do this again. Because, moving seats, okay? Move seats in a mom's minivan, she's just going to be like, oh, they detailed my car, I got to move my seat. Move a seat of a high-powered executive, you're going to get a little bit of a different conversation. They're going to be like, why are you screwing my seat? Now, it's not because they're a worse client. It's because their mindset is go, 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 and they don't want anything to get them off of the time to be somewhere, the time to do something. It's just a different human being. Not that moms aren't busy or any of that. It's just received differently. And a lot of times we just don't talk about that. We just talk about some generalized piece of advice. Do this to get a Google review. If I asked any of my customers for a Google review, they would absolutely laugh in my face. They don't have any desire to put their name on the internet under a review. That's a certain net worth of an individual that I'm talking about. Not going to happen. And I wouldn't have gotten them through a Google review. That's not how that level of human being economically works to find the people to do things for them. Everyone's in a different position. You got to identify that in your business.
So if Jake Paul's going to bring the masses back to watch boxing, what can we do to bring the masses back to continue to use our business? I know there's a theory that people believe, well, keep it economical, right? Like a quality but budget, like just keep your prices low and that'll keep somebody coming back. A low price does help, right? Like if they don't have to.
For a certain individual, yes.
Perfect. Great to, right? The average, right? The average person, the above average person. Yeah, of course. If I can save a few dollars,
sure.
You bet, right? Like that would be a way. But you're mentioning these high net worth. I really don't remember any of those people that I've dealt with in my customer base that I ever worked with on a discount or, hey, you get this. No, for them, though, what kept them coming back was the schedule. Yes. Was that I was going to come back, right? Like that's the interesting part, right? Like we're looking for something to bring a comeback, and there's actually the best customers you have. What you can do to get them to come back is put them on a comeback. Like get that schedule in, right?
So and let's think about the coding guy, okay? Because a lot of you guys are like, well, I don't want to do maintenance. PPF guys in the same boat. Okay, get them on something quarterly. bring the car in, or I stop by you, we do this service, whatever. Even if you have them on something yearly, it's better than nothing, right? A lot of people, and so I've had a lot of big PPF shops reach out to me in 2025, and there is and large coating shops go right along with that. There's a big misunderstanding that just because you can't do the weekly or biweekly or monthly maintenance, that you shouldn't be doing something quarterly, twice a year, or once a year. Okay? I don't know how we got there. I think the PPF industry is largely to blame for this because it is literally slap it on and we'll see you later.
Wham, bam, thank you, ma'am.
And that's fine. That's why most PPF looks pretty bad after year one and worse in year two and worse in year three. Vinyl wrap business has this in spades as well. But a schedule is a schedule. And as long as you tell them up front, here's what I'm going to do, and that could be quarterly, that could be weekly, that could be twice a year, that could be once a year, and you make sure you have a follow-up system that reminds them it's time to get your car in, that's the best way to get them in. That's the best way, in my opinion, that I've found. Whatever it is you're promising, make sure you don't miss the dates that you're supposed to do said thing. That's the only way I've known it to work. If that's weekly, great. If that's once a month, great. If it's quarterly, if it's twice a year, if it's once a year, you can't be the person that misses reminding them, hey, it's time to get your car in. It's like a dentist appointment. Like, think of the old where they used to send you those.
Great analogy.
Great
analogy. Yeah.
What was those postcards? Hey, it's time for your annual cleaning. It's the same thing here. Largely, I think what happens, and you and I know this, you never actually follow back up.
Well, or they put the customer into the same email, monthly newsletter, whatever, because they're going to say, hey, I got to touch all my customers. So I got to put a video, I got to send an email, I got to send it. And they're always going to be like sending their customers things. Well, that doesn't count. It's not what we're talking about.
That's just you communicating and saying, hey, look at this cool thing and look at what we're doing at the shop. And that's cool stuff. Like, if you have that program set up, you're doing it, keep doing it. But that person needs to probably be followed up with two ways. Here's an email about your specific car and its, yearly service or, quarterly service. And then here's a text message reminding you, hey, it's time to get your car in for service.
So I value when I leave physical therapy, and it's always somebody a little bit different at the register. The ones that really care, they'll go, hey, are you scheduled for your next appointment?
Yeah, they're real big on that.
Great job, right? That's what I do. Great job. And I just say, hey, yeah, I'm already booked. We're set on a, twice a week schedule, right? So I think that's, if people are a little anxious about what to say, that's a perfect thing to do. Hey, are you guys scheduled for your next one?
Yeah.
That's non-invasive.
Or I got you on the schedule, and here's what date I'll be here. If there's any issues, let me know. Sometimes it's just good to just say, here's the schedule, right? Like, that's kind of what I did. Probably what you did pretty early on is you just kind of like told them you'd be there. Like, hey, see you next week, and you just went on.
We're here every 2 weeks. We'll make sure to put you on notice.
Hey, it's putting this coating on your car, January 1. You're on a quarterly maintenance. I'm going to see you, March 1, and we're going to make sure your car looks great. And we got you already scheduled in at this time and move on with your life. I mean, sometimes it's good just to tell them. Now, of course, you're not taking a deposit 3 months ahead of time or anything like that, but there is a conversation of, if I just tell them they have an appointment and then I remind them, a week before and 3 days before, it's just kind of like expected.
And they, sure enough, even the people that aren't 6 months out, like, you could just start telling them that in every 2 months, right? Like, hey, here's your next appointment, right? I love that idea. There's all different ways that you can, in a sense, lead somebody into the appointment, right? Lead somebody into the scheduling the way dentists, the way different offices do. Like, hey, here's when you need to do your next appointment. Instead of asking, You're more in a sense like not telling them like, hey,
can we talk about a weird thing we see across the internet? And I know I've gotten a lot of questions about this. I know you have too. Let's say you're putting Trey or Sparta on a car. And you always go, oh, people neglect their cars where I'm located and they just neglect them. And, they don't. So why don't you have everybody on a quarterly that gets a 3-year or 5-year coating? I'm taking the blame game as a sign that I need to solve the problem. And you go, hey, it's just me in a shop, or I got a couple guys and we can't build a maintenance program. Cool. But you can build some type of quarterly package that you sign people up that is financially good to have in your shop. I'm not saying do this for cheap. That's not what we do here. That you go, it provides them value. It provides value to my business. It doesn't clog up the shop because I'm not going to do a bunch of them every day. But I take this like thing that I complain about and I start to fix the problem for my customers and go, when you buy a 3-year coating, here's what we do. We want you on quarterly. Here's why we want you on quarterly. Here's what we saw when we didn't do it. Here's what we see when we do it. All of these types of things. So if I was going to say one thing for 2026, and I know a lot of you listening have this problem, whatever you've been complaining about of what your customers don't do after you put PPF on or after you put coating on, just make it part of what you sell right when you sell the coating or the PPF.
And then just schedule their appointment in.
Yeah, just schedule it. Right when they pick up their car, you do the walk around. You go, hey, man, here's what's happened. Great. We did it on the 1st. We'll see you in 3 months. Here's your appointment. If you guys want to have some card made or you want to send a text message that tells them that when that appointment is, so it's already on the record, whatever you want to do. But the complaining about not taking care of something is a solvable thing through your business. Whether or not you believe that is irrelevant. It is solvable.
All right, as we get to the end of the year, I saw this question, and it will kind of finish up this customer discussion with this. For those of you who run a detailing business full-time or part-time, how do you show your appreciation for your clients at the end of the year, right? Do you leave a gift? I got nothing on this, Nick, because my customers would leave me gifts.
Yes.
I don't understand the leave my customer a gift thing.
Yep.
But somebody in my house is preparing all kinds of gifts, right?
Yep.
There's soap, there's candles, there's all kinds of stuff that she's going to leave for her customers. And I'm confused.
Yeah. So I have a select few customers that we do stuff for. It's usually very individualized. It's somebody I've had some kind of, I would say, outside of business, personal relationship. They're of a certain level. But look, man, you start dealing with high-end customers, and you start talking about gifts. That's a little bit of a touchy thing when you're talking about somebody has a 10,000 square foot house, and you go,
what am I going to leave that person?
What do I got to leave them? I mean, I just don't think. Again, the things that I do, and it's less than a handful, are for people that I've hung out with outside of business. They've really done a lot for my business. I know them, so I know what would be a good gift. You know what I mean? I know, like, the number one thing you would say is, a certain bottle of liquor.
There you go. I was going to say, what about a nice whiskey or something?
Yeah, I mean, you start talking about, Johnny Walker Blue and some things of that nature. Yeah, man, that can happen.
Is it worth it, though?
I think as a practice, I will say this. And nobody needs to read into this, but this is kind of what happened. So I had somebody that you and I have both done business with, and they sent some tchotchkes to me, to my office. Okay. And I saw, talked to other people. They thought it was, tchotchkes, and other people thought it was great. For a lot of people, on the high end of their customer base, they're like, why would you send me this? Like it drew them into question more than it did any good. So sometimes in life, and in business especially, I think out of sight in some instances, like Christmas to me is one of those holidays. I want to be out of your sight. You got family in town, you got plans, I don't really want to do a whole lot. I just kind of want to stay out of your way because Christmas is this time that really, I mean, in my customer base is pretty family strong. If I look around my different customers, I just kind of want to stay out of the way. And I think you can get in the way is much easier than you think. And I don't think that pays off the way many people believe.
Well, just like Thanksgiving, this is the week. A lot of people are cramming to get their cars cleaned. This past weekend, washing the vans at the car wash is what we do. Y'all hate me, whatever. I'm not going to spend my time washing an old Caravan. Just is what it is. So we run it down through the car wash and asking the guy that's taking the money, how's everything? Well, we're okay. I said, well, next week's going to be really nice. He goes, yeah, I guess there's people that do what? Get their car cleaned sits there nice for family? Come in. Like he was confused, but I was like, yeah. Like there's a lot of people that want their cars cleaned just so when their family comes in, they can see a clean car. I mean, those are the people you want as your customers.
Yeah, we have customers that have like they get cars gifts. So this would be like, leading up to this, it's like hiding cars certain places and hey, can you go do all good. And we make sure to take care of that. Now think about trying to track them down and ringing their doorbell to give them some tchotchke. I just don't think they're in that mode. And by the way, a certain wealth in the house that you and I went there in Tulsa, I can't imagine ringing that doorbell and going, hey, I got you this.
I
just don't think that's going to go over well. And again, sometimes in business, you can try at the wrong things. This feels like a lot of effort to something that has a very low return, even if it works.
That's what I was going to say. The return is what I kind of said earlier, like, what is it actually good for? Like, what does it do? Because to the certain clientele, you're right. Like, you would actually turn them off.
Yeah.
I would know. I never knew what to give this guy that you're referring to. Yeah. And some of the other guys, I never knew what to give him. And I'm so glad I never could figure it out. Because maybe that was the gift.
So let me ask you a question. Let me give a practical solution though. Sending somebody a thank you holiday card in the mail where you don't bother them and you just say, hey, and you handwrite it. You don't do some generic crap.
There you go. You can't generic it. Yeah.
But you mail it to their home and you write something that is directed towards them. Hey, want to thank you for everything, blah, 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 blah. You handwrite it. It's mailed to them, so you're not in their face about anything. They can open it in their kitchen on their timeline. They go, a guy sent me something. I think that's fine. I really think, again, just like the paper mats and the steering wheel covers and the leaving the candy behind. And sometimes we can just spend time on things that have little to no return, and in some cases are going to have a negative connotation to them, depending on the type of customer you're dealing with.
While you were saying that letter, it came to my mind. I got a lot of us do. If you went to school or went to this, every year they send you a Merry Christmas. So my high school sent me one, right? And they, inside of it, when you're opening it, some like fifth grader drew a Christmas tree, and you can see why it looks. And I go, wait, what about that? You just get your kid to draw some stupid thing. And we're not talking to 50 customers here, but your highest end, you're really nice. If you really want to do something, have it be family cheesy, maybe.
If it works.
Not tchotchke.
If it works.
Yeah. If it works.
Again, if that's a big part of your relationship with that person, but if you just want to send a professional thank you, great, do that. I just think a lot of guys, I appreciate the effort. Mm-hmm. It's like, hey, I'm trying to think of something. Just put the effort into something else usually.
All right, we got this wonderful email from a guy named Ken. Ken, thank you so much. Said he thought he'd let us know about his experience with our foam cannon soap. And I'll just kind of run through it real quick. I'm not so good at reading this whole big old thing, but he uses rainwater to collect, and that's what he washes with. But that pump was down, and so he had to use regular water. And I want to stop right there. Ken, I got to understand this. Nick, rainwater?
Oh, yeah, you could. There's rainwater collection systems, yeah.
I mean, we're in Oklahoma. I give the joke like we don't have to worry about that. We can
Yeah.
flush it right into the river. Nobody
Yeah.
checks. Like it's Oklahoma. You fly over for a reason.
Yeah.
But I
No,
guess some other places, right?
Yeah.
Like water does become expensive as well as
Southern California, a lot of these systems got installed when they were going through the drought. I mean, it's a lot of places you wouldn't think about. A lot of guys that live off the grid have rainwater collection systems. I mean, there's a lot of reasons.
okay, purity. Is there? I mean, is there certain
It
filters?
just kind of depends what's in your rainwater.
The
I mean,
rain,
I don't
yeah,
think
yeah.
everybody's the same. I mean, some places it gets pretty acidic. That's why we'll see different types of water spots depending on where you live and different things like that. So, look, it could be very pure. Depending on what system you run it through and all those kinds of things. So it's just kind of where you are dependent.
All right. Well, his pump was broken, so he couldn't use the traditional, like he uses the rainwater. So he had to use the city water. And he was like, it's terrible water. He put foam wash in, and he was cleaning a brand new Cadillac Escalade EV.
Yeah.
And he was concerned about it being matte, right? So if he left anything on there,
Sure.
he was in trouble because he couldn't polish it off.
Yeah.
Let's just get to the end because that's the money shot, right? Like foam wash didn't leave anything. He was super impressed.
Yep.
Said no spots. He got nothing. He loved it and was ready to start trying Fuego and some other stuff because he was so excited that the generic, just a very generic for him, right? Soap. Because most people just think of like a Canon foam wash soap is super generic. But I have a feeling Ken from some other discussions where he said he buys off of the box truck, these guys that just make their stuff with it, love it. Everybody love, no hating here. We love anybody that makes anything as manufacturers. We are too. We're going to support it. We're just going to go listen. There's a bit of craft to what we're doing.
Sure.
And our generic foam wash, it's created, same as like you talked about, Revive was created very specifically, very generic, neutral foam wash soap. I mean, well, sounds strange to make it very unique, but we did because we left out a lot of solvents, left out a lot of stuff that people use to, in a sense, make a cheaper soap.
Yep.
And then you get these results where he's like 95% of the dirt gone. He couldn't believe it compared to his other soap that he had been using.
Yep.
It wasn't the lubrication. It was what we love. People are mostly talking about lubrication. He was thrilled by the cleaning power.
Sure. Look, I think anybody that follows us, whether you've tried our stuff or not, we're big believers that very little in the chemical world's created equal. It's just not how it works. Not every deodorant, not every soap you use in the shower, things aren't created equal. And what it comes down to is, like you were getting to, which is ingredients. Ingredients drive whether or not a soap is higher quality than the next soap you use. And with those ingredients, things cost more, technical know-how, what do you remove, what is causing issues, what is cheapening the feel, what is messing up the lubrication, what is unnecessary and may have been in formulas for 50 years for no real reason, then that's the way it was 50 years ago. And I got news for you. Mm-hmm. There's some companies that have been around that long that are using 50-year-old technology. Many of you may have bought some or currently are buying stuff from those companies that have been around. Not to say all of their stuff, but you and I are uncovering some things behind the scenes that would shock some people in different industries and in the automotive industry as well. Mm-hmm. So we got to recognize the good thing of what Ken said here. Foam wash is not a generic pH neutral soap. That's just not how we do things at hyperCLEAN. It is specifically a good cleaning. Most people don't know this. Use like 1 ounce in the foam cannon and 1 ounce in the bucket. You're going to be pretty good. It's pretty high concentrate. Now, as people know, I'm not the best at that. I do kind of the glug method and probably have Marty send more out here than I need. But again, it's not generic. And I think Ken's email proves that. Soap isn't just soap. And I know that it's easy to get jaded and say this and say that. And somebody on the internet, somebody in this Facebook group who supposedly knows what he's talking about but doesn't. it's not generic. I mean, soap is different. And by the way, this is coming from two guys that came from an era where you bought pink car soap. It was just called pink car soap. I mean, I'm sure you had the same thing. It was just called pink car soap. And you'd have soap scum everywhere, thing that people largely don't talk about now that we found in a lot of products people use. This is a very clean formula, and it's cool to see Ken get those results.
It is, and we can appreciate as we've ventured 20 something years. I think we can always, at least I can. I'll say I can appreciate the other people here locally in Tulsa who've been around for a long time too. Whether or not I agree with their bathtub blender techniques and how they've never really adapted to growing out of the 1990s, you're right. They still actually use the same exact formula and will brag about it.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And it's the same color. It's the same scent. They bought the scent 15 years ago. I've never run out of it. I mean, this is like real stuff. And like you said, I'm not saying this as some kind of like big negative conversation. I'm just saying.
I give the guy a high five and shake his hand too at the same day.
Yeah.
But how you not adapt anything?
Yeah.
In 2020, going into 26, you want to still use a 25, 30-year-old formula?
Yeah. And I mean, there's just better ways to do things now. That's all. I mean, just like there's a better way to use a cell phone today than 20 years ago. I mean, if somebody was walking around with a brick phone, you'd be like, bud, just get the iPhone. I mean, just how it would go, right? But we don't talk about it when it comes to, soaps and stuff like that. It's a simple thing, but it makes a difference.
Well, speaking of brick phones, I lifted up as I was putting some stuff in the back of the new Beamer. Has its name officially.
Let's not do that here.
It has its name. If somebody wants to know, I can let them know. You will not like the name even more than you don't like that I named it.
Yeah, I'm sure.
So we're basically taking soccer players and creating a soccer team with all of our vehicles.
I do not co-sign any of this for everybody listening.
It's a German card, so I was staying with that. But so I lifted up the trunk this weekend, and there was a BMW telephone service.
Oh, nice.
I don't know, 25 years ago, they had their own telephone service? I don't know.
Yeah, so if you got into like 7 Series, some 5 Series, I believe, you could buy, some of it came with the car, right? So the phone would be in the center console, or it'd be, hooked into the center console or under it, whatever car you were in. But yeah, I mean, if I look back, I think they had to run, but I'm guessing the BMW phone service was like Sprint or MCI or some company, but it was just called BMW.
MCI probably. God, that's an old name, right? MCI. All right. So what do you guys use to do? This was just a generic. Sorry, I didn't mean to say generic. This was just a Facebook group. Okay. So this is just a random Facebook group, not ours. What do you like to use to reduce the chance of water spot etching? Water etching on glass seems to be crazy hard to remove, so I'm hoping to avoid hard water spotting as much as possible. We can all go a filter. Okay, but
is this during the wash process or like just driving the car around?
That's a great question. He didn't go into that. It was just, I think it was around the wash, right? So could using, like Ken, using a high quality soap help you reduce water spotting? Answer is definitely yes. Like, I think that's why I put it into that part of this little segment was.
I mean, look, you can see that from Eco One. Eco One can help. A little cap full of that. It can help break down the minerals in the water a little bit. I think you're getting into a tough spot here. The only answer is DI water. I mean, if you're getting that much hard water during a wash, that it's messing the glass up during a wash, like even because the way you and I would look at it is, hey man, if you're getting actually permanent hard water spots during a wash, something doesn't check out.
And which you and I talk about, it usually doesn't. So is this guy's problem, which he's not seeing, actually soap scum?
Yes.
Actually stuff that's been left over from improperly formulated soap, trying to be very cheap. And using, which you can use a lot of cheap solvents and use some different things, caustics. You can do different ways to make a soap, and it's not surfactant based. It doesn't have the right ingredients. And then we're left with a film might associate as hard water because then once that hard water gets into it,
Yeah, now
it's
you
going
have
to
now
amplify
you
it.
have a bad mixture.
Now you got a super bad mixture.
Yeah, it's a good point. I would go with you. I mean, obviously, there's answers to this. You guys all know them, but if you're getting that crazy of hard water spots during a wash where you're concerned about the glass, I'm kind of with you on this. There's something at play in your chemicals.
All right. This one's going to be tough, except for those of us can just understand what it is. If you look at a black car and the sun's hitting it and you see all these trails down, right?
Yep.
We all know that. We all know that moment. And this guy's asking, hey, all recently cut and polished this car, but it has come out like this.
Yeah, you didn't cut and polish it. That'd be the first answer
here. Do I just polish it again? Or what are the steps to make sure this doesn't happen in the future? What a tough question, right? Because we can all imagine people are going to put out these just, hey, man, this, hey, man, that.
Sure.
Right? You could go into so many different variables here, from the product that was used, the pad, to was everything prepped, right? Was it cool enough? I think we run into so many of these where they don't want to trade out their pads and there's stuff that gets into them.
Yeah, that guy doesn't have the skill to be using what looks to be a rotary. And my guess is he went rotary and then rotary again, so he's doubled the problem. That would be my guess.
You're right. There's a guess. There's some force tools. Sure. There are some tools that if you not just rotary, that you can create some marring, some. Now, please, everybody, don't kid yourself. I do understand the difference here. And I do know that this was most likely, like you had said, the rotary, in which we do see, I think there's a trend of rotary starting to come back, right? Sure. Like it seems to be rotary starting to come back. So whether or not we're somebody that did this and or we're somebody that was getting a car from a customer who says, hey, what's this? Or we're a customer, right? Like we're somebody that we look in this suddenly and we go, what's this?
I think one of the interesting things about rotary coming back is, first of all, it should have never left. And you and I watched both of it happen. We watched it be the only tool. Then it left because all these DA companies told you this is a better way. Now it's coming back. We've actually seen all the cycles. We are old enough to have seen all the cycles. I see a lot of people picking up machines, and I think that's cool. Here's a human being that probably should have had some test panels in his garage.
Let's in the comment section. You nailed it. In the comment section is what was said,
I think it's okay to try things out on a body shop panel that, by the way, they'll let you pick up at every body shop for free. They don't care. So anybody that thinks that's like some crazy piece of advice, you just haven't walked into a body shop and said, hey, I want to test some stuff on a panel that you don't care about. And they go, we got 10,000 of them over there. Just grab what you want and leave us alone. Junkyard, by the way, if you live close to a junkyard, that's about 5 seconds as well. A couple little bolts and you're on your way. I like your mindset to talk about this as, man, the dirty pad will kill you. The dirty pad will kill you. And it looks like he had not only the improper tool, the improper technique, but he probably had a pretty caked up wool pad to start out with. And there's just no recovering from that. There's no recover. Even if you have all the right technique, there's really no recovering from a caked up, messy pad, which we've all experienced. We didn't know why we were seeing it. We realized, man, I didn't pull this pad off for a while. I haven't cleaned it in a while. I got in a groove. And now I'm 3 panels deep and I'm like, I just lost my train of thought. Everybody has this stuff happen, but I see a lot of defense from a lot of detailers and people acting as if having enough pads to do the job is a bad thing. And I think that's a really odd take.
It comes into a very unique thing, like you have said, and I don't know many detailers, even our customers, that do it. I don't. I don't know many people that buy that many pads. I think they try and really do 1 pad a car, 2 pad, 3 maybe, 4 at the most. I don't hear of anybody really using more than 4 pads ever in a car. And then you get these results.
Yeah.
You get these results, and how do you fix it, right? No matter if you're the guy that did it or you're the customer that got the car, we got to know, how do we fix swirl marks that have been moved all up and down this car, and how is it fixed? We definitely got to go to a DA at this point. I wouldn't trust the average person to pick up a rotary and then fix rotary swirls.
No,
now,
and by the way,
are there a select few people? Sure. But the average, which is, we're going to go the average, they need to use a DA. We would definitely recommend the LE or, some other high quality brands, which we're going to maybe have some more out on our site later.
Sure.
But is this a orange pad, a blue pad? Is this Velo?
What Marty showed, and here's where the mistake is largely going to be made with the DA. There is so much damage on these panels that you're more than likely going to have to use some type of cut and microfiber pad to even out all of this uneven work with level. And then you're going to have to come back with Lux and whatever the blue or the orange foam that fits that paint system the best. The biggest mistake that happens, and I think guys probably get frustrated with this, is they see a massive amount of damage that they've caused or that has been brought into their shop, and they go, well, I can't go back and cut it with rotary. And then immediately people do what you say. They grab like Velo and an orange pad. And they're like, this doesn't work. Buddy, this is so much damage. This is a 2-step whether you like it or not. You're not going to get it where you have so much controlled damage. When somebody's improperly cut with a rotary, you're going to have to 2-step that out. And by the way, if you do a heavy cut with a rotary, like a really heavy session with a rotary, you most likely have to 2-step it out anyway. It's not like you go from a really hammered car, hit it with a rotary, hit it with a finishing polish, and you're done. That's not really how this works. When you do this much of a heavy cut, and this one was done improperly, I can guarantee you you're stepping it out from there at least twice.
Stepping it out, and so we're basically thinking back to full compound at the first, because and if we're going to use a DA to compete against rotary swirls, that's in a sense what we're trying to say. We're not trying to cut down to get a deeper scratch now. No, we're just trying to alleviate the damage that was caused by the swirls.
You're trying to even out the defect, right? Which is what you would be doing here. So even when you are great with the rotary and you do a heavy cut, you're going to leave a lot of trails, right? That's the nature of the tool. So let's say you use a really, really, really aggressive wool pad. You're not going right to finish. You got to step it out, which is the proper terminology. You got to step it down and get it to a place where it can be finished. If the defect is so bad, you can't get down to the finish. You got to take an intermediate step, which is what a lot of people skip with the rotary conversation. The more you use the rotary, the more you're going to have to step it down. So the more aggressive I get with the rotary, the more I'm going to have to step it out.
A play that I used to make was I would high speed and keep it up there high, and then still using the same tool, same everything, just slow it down a little bit.
Sure.
On my final passes, just to try and help myself on the polish stage.
Yeah, and you can even alleviate pressure. You maybe used more pressure during the cut. Now that's the old like jeweling stuff that we used to have to do where, the last couple passes are a little bit lighter and you're trying to make that defect a little bit, more inconspicuous, not so out in your face, which then allows you to step it out easier. All that stuff goes into it. I feel for guys like this, but trust me, guys, you want to get comfortable with a tool, the body shop method is the way. Just go get you a panel, go have some fun in your garage or at your shop, and just figure it out from there. This trying stuff on people's cars is just never going to work out the way you think.
Yeah, it is wild, isn't it? All right, so you had a call about a carpet stain, and we had red dye, right? Yep. Red dye is, those of us that all know, there's that moment that we know.
Sure.
Walk us through it.
Yeah, it's pretty basic, guys. Once you see red dye caught very quickly can be a different conversation, but red dye that even sits 24, 48, 72 hours, you're in the red dye situation.
And if we're a mama minivan company doing a lot of those, this is Gatorade fruit punch. This is all that.
So wine, different things like that, right? So a red stain needs to be looked at only slightly different than every other stain. Number one, lay enzyme down first. Don't go into some type of stain like that and lay any kind of APC, degreaser, any of that kind of stuff, because if you set that, what I'm about to tell you doesn't work. So just throw some enzyme down, okay? And then work the enzyme. If it's 1 or 2 times, depending on how bad the stain is, it's all relative, right? And most likely in this case, an extractor is your friend, right? This would be one of those cases where you'd go, if all things created equal, you'd want to have an extractor. At the very least, some type of steamer that can steam up and get some stuff moving around in there. Then go with complete and kind of neutralize everything, let it attack a little bit different parts of the stain. But there are red dye removers that are specifically made to remove red dye out of carpets. They're available at Amazon or Home Depot or Lowe's. They're out there. That's an easy thing to do as your final stage, and you'll be good to go.
Does it mean our carpet system failed?
No, I had to have this conversation. All of the things that were going to leave the smell behind, that were really part of the things you worry about, right? In a stain removal, it's like, I always think of every stain like milk, right? What you don't want when milk spills is for milk to stay in the carpet. It's going to get worse. So everything was removed except this random dye that was in the product that was spilled. So this is a 0.0001% of stains that you come across. Just have some type of red dye remover, or just go down to Home Depot and get the red dye remover.
All right, we're going to finish up the episode. We were going to stop it earlier, but Mildred gives us a hard time if we stop early. So, we're going to have to keep going, Nick. We're going to have to push through. Now, we're going to end on wheel cleaner, right? And this is a couple different wheels, a couple different wheel cleaners. And wheel cleaning, it happens 4 times every time you clean a car.
Yeah, if not 5, you could have a fancy wheel on the back.
It's pretty important. Any good non-acid wheel cleaner with good price quality balance, right? This was a question inside of a group. First comment was, why non-acid? It's a great question. We'll get to that here pretty soon.
Sure.
But any good non-acid wheel cleaners with a good price quality balance. I want to just go, which we could probably all know where I'm headed. You're wanting good quality with a good price quality balance. I'm not sure that you could get balance in good quality and cheap price.
Well, as many times as we have to say this out loud, we need to say it, which is that comment is something that doesn't happen in any part of life. I know you guys don't want to hear that. I know people get jaded by what's gone on in the chemical part of our business. I understand it. If you are at all a customer that pays attention, you know how to stay away from companies that are largely just selling you stuff, in my opinion. We put our face out every week. We put content out every week. Our name is on the line. We have people depending on us inside of our company and their families. That's a pretty good start. And then there's people playing things on the internet. I'd probably stay away from those companies if it were me. We have to get to a point as a society of car people, whether you work in the car business or you own a car and you love your car, whatever it is, of thinking that somehow $40 a gallon that can be cut a multitude of ways inside of a bottle, and it's going to last you a really long time. We use our TRX on maintenance clients at 4-to-1 all the time on really tough vehicles that you never see, 2-to-1, 1-to-1. So even if you cut it in half, that means you're getting 2 gallons for $40. If you just cut every one of your bottles in half water, half product, I'm going to basically, simple math, get 2 gallons for the price of one, right? That's $20 a gallon of usable, high-quality product.
So per 32-ounce spray bottle, we're $5, right? $5 to clean wheels. You're not going to use that
you'll
whole.
have leftover. I mean,
I was going to say you're not going to use that whole 32
no,
ounce.
you're talking about on an average car,
and you're cutting 1 to 2, so we're still really strong.
Yeah.
Or 1 to 1, actually.
Yeah, 1-to-1.
We're 1 to 1, so we're still really, really strong.
Yep.
It's not like I got to spray a ton all over the place.
No, and none of you are going to use it 1-to-1.
No.
Most of you are going to use it 3-to-1, 4-to-1, something like that. So when we think about this conversation, I always relate back to use slick on a vehicle is like 25 cents for the whole vehicle. To use a good quality soap like Foam Wash, it's like 70 cents a vehicle. And that's a high number. It's more like 50 cents if you use it in perfect 1 ounce dilution. Okay. All in all, if it costs me less than $3 or $4 to do everything right on a car, how is there a conversation?
Well, so glad you mentioned that, Nick. One of these other photos that was, you can all imagine, this is the AMG black wheel.
Oh, yeah.
So, let's talk about AMG black wheels. Let's talk about using certain chemicals. And he's asking any advice on how to clean these wheels without the harsh chemicals, right? Because he had said that he used a wheel cleaner on his previous car, which had the same wheels, and they started to fade.
Yep.
Plus, the clear coat on the calipers were peeling. Thanks in advance.
Yep.
You go, well, you saved money on your soap, and what'd that cost you?
Yeah, you saved money on wheel cleaner. You went cheap. And in some cases, a lot of APCs that are being promoted, not a good mix. Some of them are very harsh. You and I've talked about it. Old school degreasers that we see that still have popularity to this day. You go, ooh, that's dangerous on those black wheels. If they have any heat, any sun hit them, anything like that. That's where you look at a product like TRX and you go, again, guys, it's so affordable. Honestly, it's, $1.50, $2 at the most. We said if you mixed every one of your bottles 1-to-1, it's, $2.50 to clean wheels that are probably going to cost you the better part of, $3,000 to $5,000 to replace if something goes wrong. That's a small price, by the way. I mean, you can get up into the $10,000, $12,000 to replace. I just don't see it. And I do try to see things from people's point of view. We talk that way on this podcast.
So I see it, and I'll say what I see. I see them, right, not thinking about, will my customer return?
There you go.
Right?
Yeah, it goes right back to the beginning.
This guy, it's his car, but I think most people that are detailing cars, they don't think about, will that customer keep coming back? I want to use this brush. I want to use this cheap product, and I want to scrub it off and just get it. This is what I think sometimes this happens with these black wheels, right?
Sure.
We've seen it when you came here to Tulsa, right? People just go in and start scrubbing on their wheels like, hey, this is supposed to get it off because I don't want to use harsh chemicals. Well, what if you could trade harsh chemicals and brush
for just the right products?
Well, that's what I mean, right? Yeah. You trade them both for TRX.
Yeah, it's easy. I mean, I don't look at this conversation the same way I did 5 years ago, right? I've learned a lot watching things that go on the internet and from all of you that reach out to us. And I think it all starts with people just don't think it through. And it just goes a long way. So like you said about returning customers, how many times in your career we talk about bug cleaner all the time, especially during bug season, and guys are torching front ends and windshields with bug cleaner. Happens. I mean, it's got to happen in the thousands upon thousands of times every summer. They never think about, number one, it's their own car and they screw it up. Now they got to face the music. That's one part of it. But the guys that go, yeah, my customers don't return. Dude, everybody's windshield is scorched that you did business with. Well, they didn't complain about it. No, they did. They didn't come back. We have this idea that everybody that we wrong by doing something to their car is going to call us and yell at us. That's not the average person in America. The average person isn't pulling into the McDonald's and, throwing cheeseburgers with, you put pickles on my sandwich. I said no pickles. They don't throw the sandwich. They just go, I don't really like that McDonald's location. I'm going to go to the one over here. They're better. Right? Like, people just don't think about this. Like, and the bug cleaner one's always funny to me because you and I, it's so simple just not to do that. Just don't torch somebody's front end. And guys will go, well, this one's cheaper. I don't know why customers aren't because they saw their front end. Just because they didn't call and yell at you doesn't mean they didn't see it. Like that's the thing about all of this is like, guys, to do everything right on the exterior of your car and do it safely is less than $5 a car. It seems really silly to jeopardize anything over less than a $5 bill in 2025, 2026.
Yep, absolutely. All right. I think this is an old GMC Yukon.
Is that a Denali?
Maybe a Denali, yeah.
Yeah, it's a
Maybe
Yukon,
you're right.
Yukon Denali.
Sitting like the way you would like it with some chrome rims, huh?
Oh, boy. Is that a Tulsa special?
No, it's not. It's in a Facebook group. Chrome dip case aluminum wheels. How do you get rust stains off a wheel safely? Says, long story, they traded us for some wheels. Got bad. There were some rust stains that they didn't see on one of the wheels. Most of it washed off, but you can still see a haze. Anything we can do on there? I don't know. Rust in chrome? Re-chrome, yeah.
This is kind of like an oxymoron because usually chrome, pretty easy to clean up, grab an acid. Mm-hmm. Something's not adding up here. My guess is...
Wait, what'd you say?
Yeah, I would say that there's an issue with this guy's story and posting.
Acid?
Yeah,
was that a word you said? That's the whole reason I brought up this.
Yeah,
like, I mean, if it's chrome, it should come off with acid, right? Like, it doesn't matter what we could go. It probably wasn't real chrome, right?
That's what my guess is that there was no chrome and it's aluminum, and you're having all kinds of problems now, and you're like, it doesn't look right. It's like, yeah, somebody sold you a bill of goods, but I'm not sure this is what you think it is.
No, but there was a teaser for that A word, which we'll talk about next episode. As we go into the 2026 year, projections and the close of 25, we'll talk about an acid wheel cleaner. Woo, I'm excited.
All right, guys.
See y'all next week.